Hey everyone, it's Reg from Aver Reg Guy. New version of the game, and I went through a video on what's new with it. I'm sure I'll see some other stuff as we're going along, but not a whole lot of big releases. I would like to have seen more missions, more planets as part of the built-in ones, not that you have to hack them in. But not yet, I guess. Hopefully soon. But one thing I did notice when I was taking a look at the game here, so let me just go back to my career. If we take a look at my achievements, Jupiter, I've just got the one of the three so far. So entering Jupiter's atmosphere. I've not done a capture into low Jupiter orbit yet, or entered the Jupiter's upper atmosphere yet. So might as well do that. So what I've been doing is, if you watched back in my trip of landing on Venus and taking off and coming back, I have my Enterprise that I built for that. We're going to use the same system for this one, and we're just going to use it as a atmospheric burner as we're going. So let's scoot over to Jupiter here. So I'm going to go to build rocket. And if we do continue, you can see I put another fuel tank up already. That's why this one is here. So let's grab the Venus lander, because it'll work just fine for this. Just head to the fuel station first to grab the side rockets, the nacelles, we'll call them. And if you don't know what that is, go back and watch the Star Trek movies. Okay, so we have low Earth orbit. I need to get to 50, where my fuel tank is. I believe this might be it here. There's the fuel tanks, and or my nacelles. I better round out that orbit here. Oops. New stuff, dude. Use the new stuff. So, off we go. We are behind it. We're going a little bit lower, so it shouldn't take too long to catch up to it. There's the point of closest approach. You hear weird sounds. That's not a dinosaur, it's my stomach. I know they can be easily confused. So distracted by the dinosaur that I almost had an accident here. Took a bit, but we got her. Get a little bit of refueling, so we'll go fast forward through this. Take this one around, put it on the other side. Installing nacelles. Good to go. Disconnect toss the one tank in the ocean and head off to Jupiter, because this one is almost empty. So. Okay, let's check where this one is positioned. It's always good to leave your stuff in the proper place when you go away. There was the one. This time Warp sure makes this go a lot easier. It's not like it was a difficult thing to do before, but it's just more convenient this way. 50 and 50. And look, they hadn't even moved apart from each other in that whole time. Let's see where this guy is currently located. Yeah. So, he didn't move too much in that. Just getting ourselves out of the way of the tank. I don't want to bump into it. And I need to drop a few more tanks up in space when I get some time. Fuel tanks. Not like some people. Some people are building full-on tanks with this program. I'm going, isn't there enough war in the world as it is? But to each his own. Some people would say I've got better things I could be doing besides doing this too. So, yeah. Good enough. Let's go to Jupiter. Don't want to burn up again. No Saturn yet. No Uranus. No Neptune. Yeah, it's a nice approach. And I know it's because there's a ton of fuel in it. I know why. It's just go. Whoop, I'm gonna turn off these two engines. Just the nacelles, don't need the impulse engines at this point. And this one takes a while because it's a lot of fuel. We're going 12,000 meters per second. It looks beautiful. Let's just make sure fueling all looks good still. 4.5%. Now we're going to do a couple of burn throughs in the orbit. So I gotta slow down just a little bit, so I enter in at about 95 kilometers above the surface. That makes sure I don't burn up my heat shields, hopefully. Okay, there's where we're going, 95. This is so we can do the entering Jupiter's atmosphere. And if I leave it pointed just the way it is, the heat shields, no. Will I lose the nacelles? Yeah, wait, they'll burn up real fast. So before that happens then, we just want to make sure everybody's topped up. And they should be because we have the thrusters turned off. Just pretty funny. 6% of that one tank. Everything in the middle is still charged. So, goodbye. Let me just do something here. Just give them a little bit of fuel so we can get rid of them. And I like to do, it's going to sound strange, but I like to do the separation and then connect up a couple of times here, because you get credit for docking in Jupiter's orbit. So disconnect. Okay, shall we go for a dive? Now, what about the two little cross members coming out the sides? Yep, we'll lose those two. And we don't need those on because they ain't going to make any difference. What's going to happen here? Oh, I don't like that one straight in front of me. The one behind me I don't mind, but we're going to drop into atmosphere here pretty quick. Hopefully that big one's not right in front of me. So watch those side cross members. We're still burning, still warming up. Like we're still deep enough in the atmosphere to cause some cooking, but I think we're going to be good. We still have one of the, there it goes. There. It's a little charbroiled, but so that's one time. I'm going to do 3 burns, I think. You can see him coming a little bit closer. Well, I just saw one of the moons go by at a pretty significant speed there. So we were close to its orbit. One thing with it is this big rocket on the backside gives it a lot of push. So it's a lot of mass in this thing right now. I think if that wasn't on there, it would probably slow down so much that it would drop out of. Shall we go one more? Let's go one more. It's a burn party. I think it's funny that the charring doesn't show up until it's cooling off on the other side. We're definitely upper atmosphere. Okay, I think that was 4 times through, so let's head back to Earth. One other thing I need to get is a low Jupiter orbit, and I don't think I'll be able to do that with this one this time. This is just doing a couple of dive-ins to get that one. So here's what I need to do. I don't want to dive in again. So I'm going to time warp to here. Why does it think I'm facing? I guess it doesn't know where my main thrusters are. Now it turned around. So I guess because the engines were off, it wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use. Understandable. I actually do get that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to nudge myself up enough so we don't go burning through as we come in one more time. So I think I'm going to go like to 150 or maybe 200. Just so nothing bad happens. And let's go back to Earth. Yeah, to get into low orbit, I think it's around 4,000, if I remember right. And, or 400. 4,000, yeah, 4,000 kilometers, I think. And I don't have enough fuel now to get out of there. To do that, I'm going to have to go right around there at the furthest point. So I'm not fighting Jupiter to get away from Jupiter. But let's go back to Earth. And make sure our approach is reasonable. And that's not a reasonable approach. You'd never want a J. If you turn your computer upside down or your phone upside down, that's a J. We want a C. Oh, we went into the influence of Europa. Now we're in the influence of Io. Now, this one tank's not going to be enough to even get us out of Jupiter's influence. We'll have to switch to the other ones, but let's just get started. We've got high Jupiter orbit, so around 6,000, so I guess lower than that. So it'd be below 6,000. Maybe if we aim at 5,000, it'd be good. Okay, this was not the way to do this, but all we need to do is get in orbit around the Earth. We're just trying to slow down enough that we don't burn up into a crisp as we enter the atmosphere. It was a nice ship. It did a good job bringing us back. Okay, so we are successfully landed. If we take a look at all the stuff here. So, Kármán line, Kármán line, Kármán line. Those are funny. And I think it's because of all the different rockets that have gone up to build these things. Then you got dockings in orbit. Then you got a docked in suborbital trajectory of Jupiter. And then entered Jupiter's atmosphere, re-entered Jupiter's atmosphere, re-entered Jupiter's atmosphere, re-entered Jupiter's atmosphere, re-entered Jupiter's atmosphere 4 times. Escaped the sphere of influence of Europa, Io. Oops, that's just about to get mushed. Escaped the sphere of Jupiter, entered the sphere of the Earth, escaped the influence of the Moon, or entered it, escaped it, descended to the Earth, re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, and safely relanded. So I got $10 million for that. That's not so bad. So if I go recover, and I bet you I still have one more for Jupiter. Yep. Capture into low orbit. And I know that's the next one I need to do. So hit the subscribe, give it a like, tell your friends, broadcast it to other people. Look at all the money I got.